time destroys everything. Except here. Deep in the earth, nature freezes death, turning victims into leather statues that wait centuries. You just entered the darkest chapter. From ritual bog graves to bones of living steel, some secrets were never meant to be dug up. Fact 126, right now.
Peat bogs are anaerobic environments that can preserve human bodies for millennia while pulling victims deep into their acidic depths. The lack of oxygen prevents decomposition, effectively tanning the skin into a leather-like consistency. Archaeologists frequently find perfectly preserved bog bodies that were ritualistically sacrificed or accidentally interred. Fact 127. Snow masses in an avalanche can exceed velocities of 300 kilometers per hour, developing enough force to crush human bone and pulverize internal organs. Survival within the high-density core of an avalanche is statistically impossible. The victim is often buried under meters of snow that sets like concrete within seconds of stopping. Fact 128. Certain crater lakes, such as Lake Kivu, contained lethal concentrations of dissolved CO2 and methane beneath their surface. A minor geological tremor could trigger a limnic eruption, releasing a toxic gas cloud that would systematically suffocate millions of people living along the shoreline within a matter of minutes. Fact 129. Glacial crevices can be dozens of meters deep and are often hidden by a thin layer of unstable snow. A single step can result in a terminal fall into a sub-zero environment where rescue is impossible. The bodies of lost explorers remain preserved inside the ancient ice for centuries. Fact 130. Upward lightning is a rare phenomenon where electrical strikes shoot from the ground to the clouds during severe storms. These strikes are significantly more powerful than standard lightning and can destroy electrical infrastructure for miles. This inversion of the natural electrical cycle highlights the unpredictable and lethal energy of the atmosphere.
Fact 131. Fatal familial insomnia is a rare, incurable genetic brain disorder characterized by a permanent loss of the ability to enter sleep. The condition progresses from mild insomnia to cognitive collapse, dementia, and multi-organ failure. The subject eventually expires from absolute physical exhaustion as their brain loses the capacity for rest. Fact 132. Certain bacterial species possess the ability to metabolize metal ions, effectively eating steel structures from within. These organisms can compromise the structural integrity of ships, underwater pipelines, and reinforced concrete. This biological corrosion is an invisible threat to global infrastructure, potentially leading to catastrophic mechanical failures without warning. Fact 133. Scientists have discovered virophages, which are specialized viruses that infect and destroy larger viruses. These microscopic predators act as a secondary layer of biological warfare within the microbial world. They can hijack the reproductive mechanisms of their viral hosts, potentially altering the progression of systemic infections in unpredictable ways. Fact 134. Ophiocordyceps fungus creates zombie ants by infiltrating the insect's muscular system and bypassing the brain to take direct control of limb movement. Once the ant reaches a terminal height, the fungus erupts from its cranium to spread spores. It is a terrifying example of total biological subversion and manipulation. Fact 135. Over 100 trillion microbes inhabit the human body, outnumbering human cells 10 to 1. While primarily symbiotic, a failure of the immune system can cause these organisms to turn lethal, consuming the host from within. Your biological survival depends entirely on maintaining a fragile balance with these trillions of residents. Fact 136. Toxoplasma gondii, a parasite commonly hosted by cats, manipulates the human brain by altering neurotransmitter levels. Infection is linked to increased risk-taking behavior, slower reaction times, and psychiatric disorders. This microscopic agent effectively rewires human decision-making processes, illustrating how biological parasites can subtly control their human hosts.
Fact 137. Ancient viruses frozen in Arctic permafrost for over 30,000 years could reawaken as global ice melts. These prehistoric pathogens possess biological structures that modern immune systems are entirely unprepared to neutralize. The thawing of the Arctic represents a massive, planetary-scale breach in biological containment for extinct, lethal diseases. Fact 138. Deinococcus radiodurans, also known as Conan the bacterium, can survive radiation doses thousands of times higher than the human lethal limit. Its DNA repair mechanisms are so efficient that it can reassemble its genome after total fragmentation. This organism represents the extreme biological resilience that exists beyond human physiological capacity. Fact 139. Genetic mutations can disable the natural limits on cellular division, creating immortalized cell lines that form malignant tumors. These cells bypass the biological process of aging and death, growing indefinitely at the expense of the host's health. In a terminal sense, your own cells can become biological parasites. Fact 140. Certain fungi, including species of Candida and Aspergillus, have the capacity to invade the human central nervous system. These infections cause hallucinations, violent seizures, and rapid cognitive decay. In immunocompromised individuals, the fungus systematically consumes brain tissue, leading to a terminal neurological state that is extremely difficult to treat. Fact 141. Congenital insensitivity to pain is a mutation of the SCN9A gene that renders a person incapable of feeling physical agony. While seemingly beneficial, it is a biological curse. Victims frequently suffer terminal internal injuries, severe burns, or infections without realizing they are in danger. Many expire young due to undetected appendicitis. Fact 142. Porphyria is a rare genetic blood disorder that causes extreme light sensitivity, skin blistering upon exposure to the sun, and receding gums. Historically, this condition is believed to have inspired legends of vampires. The physiological degradation forces the subject to adopt a nocturnal lifestyle to avoid agonizing dermal necrosis. Fact 143. The blue fugates of Kentucky suffered from methemoglobinemia, a genetic mutation that increased the levels of methemoglobin in their blood. This reduced the blood's capacity to transport oxygen, resulting in distinct blue-colored skin. This mutation highlights how a simple biological error can fundamentally alter the human physical appearance. Fact 144. A rare retinal mutation can cause human eyes to reflect light in the dark, similar to feline ocular structures. While biologically fascinating, this cat's eye effect is often an early clinical indicator of progressive blindness or retinoblastoma. It is a visually striking symptom of the systematic failure of the visual apparatus. Fact 145. A mutation in the LRP5 gene grants individuals skeletal structures that are denser and more fracture-resistant than steel. However, this superpower complicates surgical interventions. Medical drills frequently fail to penetrate the bone during necessary operations. This skeletal density can lead to irreversible complications if surgery is required for joint repair. Fact 146. Mutations in the FOX30 and SIRT1 genes can significantly slow cellular aging, allowing some carriers to live beyond 110 years without typical age-related diseases. However, this longevity can be viewed as a biological curse as individuals outlive their entire social generation, experiencing prolonged psychological isolation in a failing physical frame. Fact 147. Tetrachromacy is a genetic condition primarily in women where the eye possesses an extra cone cell, allowing the subject to perceive millions of colors invisible to the average human. This expanded visual reality can be overwhelming as the subject perceives biological and environmental details that others remain blissfully unaware of. Fact 148. Foreign accent syndrome is a documented neurological condition resulting from brain trauma or stroke where the subject suddenly speaks with a distinct foreign accent. This occurs due to damaged speech centers in the brain, effectively altering the subject's identity and communication without any conscious control or prior exposure.
Fact 149. Approximately 1% of the human population carries the CCR5 delta 32 mutation, which provides natural immunity to HIV. This genetic variation prevents the virus from entering the immune cells. This trait represents a rare biological advantage in the ongoing evolutionary warfare between humanity and systemic viral pathogens. Fact 150. Renfield syndrome is a rare psychological disorder where an individual experiences a compulsive urge to consume blood, often starting with their own. This condition mirrors the clinical characteristics of vampirism, highlighting how deep neurological dysfunctions can manifest as behaviors that transcend the boundaries of human social norms.